In this lesson, we're going to learn how to properly organize our files and also learn about how to organize the internal file structure. Of course, we've been getting glimpse of how to do that in previous lessons. For example, this is the script that was used for the control structure, the if else statement specifically. And this is quite familiar. And here we can see we have sectioning and things related to that. And here we can see some glimpse into what we'll be learning today. And also right here, we have the script that was used for packages. And I must say, it's quite common to see a lot of people with scripts with things like this, untitled 2, untitled 1. And if you don't have something like this, if you do have a saved script, I think that's really, really good. But do not be surprised because it's quite common. We have a lot of untitled scripts out there. And the thing with not saving your script is you are likely to lose the progress if our studio runs into issues, which it will at some point in time. The first thing we learn is how to save our script. Yeah, but before that, let's check a bit on file organization. We'll see this, and right here, this is the main folder, but I've created an isolated folder for this lesson, and that's thesis analysis as an example. So under thesis analysis, what you usually want is firstly a folder for your data. That's if you have data from multiple sources. So you can simply put data here, and that folder will store your data. Then if you plan to use multiple scripts, like now I have 2 scripts here, you can of course save them in this script, or you can decide to add a folder for that and just say script. But I do not think that is necessary. We'll just simply save the script in the root folder like this. Now to save the script, the name of the file is very, very important. And one thing is, when it comes to file names, students are one of the best people that gives terrible file names. It's not unusual to see file names like thesis draft final. You have like 12 final thesis draft files. Well, that is not good. So instead, a good way to save your files could be including numbers. For example, this is not a thesis file, but as it's an house script, I'll save this as 01, and this is for mainly packages. So I'll say 01 packages. Look at how it is written. There's a dash, but I can also use an underscore, then save. Now, if I reload this, you see that I have 01 dash packages.r. So next time, when you want to send your work to your supervisor, instead of this is final, what you just need to do is you can simply put a number in front, 01 thesis, so you can know the version of your thesis also, and you can see the progress that you've made so far. So that's one easy way to save file. Now this can also be saved, and this I will save as control structure, or I will save as if else. And now, since I have multiple scripts, it's better to use a descriptive name. Packages is descriptive enough. That means it relates to package. So for this, I can use if else. I can save it like this, or I can decide to add a bit more. And it's all right if you use abbreviations like CTHOW for control, then STHOW structure. Or you can as well write the whole thing, but just ensure you use dash or underscores. Don't use space. Space is frowned upon. Use dash or underscore. Now that was all about naming your file. Now go to the internal structure of your file. Usually when you want to start an analysis, what you do oftentimes is to import packages first. So for that, you need to learn how to properly section and comment your code. To comment your code, you can use the hashtag symbol, which we've learned under operators. Now, to add section to your code, you simply come to code, then you see insert section, Ctrl Shift R, then you put the section. So for this, you can say load packages. Then you can decide to import your packages under this. So for example, you can say library pacman. Then if you have more, library tidyverse, and any other library that you want. Then if you want to go to your analysis, you can use the shortcut, or you can come to code also. But I'm used to the shortcut, Ctrl Shift R. Then I'll say data exploration. Now this gives your work a nice flow as you've broken down for yourself, but not just for yourself, but also for other people that will be checking and going through your code. And this is really, really good. Now the next thing is how to name our variable. For example, if we want to import a data, we can do this read.csv. This is something we'll cover in the next course, data importation. So watch out for that. So read CSV, and for example, we can say Let me see data. This, I want to import this. I want to import the ASFIS SP 2023 dataset. I see people use variable names such as TBL, and I see people use variable names such as DT, which stands for data. But what me I prefer to do is to give it a nice name that makes me know that this is what this data is for. And this is what ASFIS. So this is ASFIS TBL, which means ASFIS table. But I can make it much more better than this. And I'll use ASFIS TBL raw, since it is the raw data collected from the field. So as I continue to work on it and do more transformation on this data, I can change the name as need be. Of course, sometimes I will reassign. Then when I see that, okay, yes, it's in a good state for me, I can do my modeling, visualization, then I'll give it a name like ASFIS TBL clean. So this is a good naming convention. And notice what I'm doing here. I'm using the underscore, then everything here is small letters. They are all lowercase. And that's the convention used in R. Of course, there's another way you can name it, and it's to do like this: ASFIS TBL clean. And this is quite common in JavaScript. This naming style is called the camel case, while the other is called the snake case. This is the common convention in R, and this is what I'll say that you should stick to in R. Then after that, we have function names. One thing about function, I'll give this a section. I'll call this function names. One thing about function is functions are there to perform a certain task. So whatever name you want to give them should signify an action. For example, get data. You know that, yes, this function is there to get data, and that is the name of your function, like that. Also, you could have, for example, send email. That's another function. Then you could also have make model. So these are all good names of functions. And this brings us to the end of this lesson. I'll see you in the next lesson. We'll talk about our script and the R project.